Hello and welcome to another episode of ClearPoint Unlock. My name is Jaco Saunderson. I'm General Manager for Platform Engineering at ClearPoint. And it's my privilege to introduce Tamer Al-Hiti to you today. Tamer, over to you. Please introduce yourself.
Yeah, thank you, Jaco. Thank you for having me in this episode. My name is Tamer Al-Hiti. I have like 23 years of experience in IT. So I got the experience from two major firms, technology and adoption. And now I'm spending like my 12 years in the data, so helping organization on the country level, organizational level. So far it's two major countries. I help them to be like data driven. And now New Zealand is like my third country.
That's great. And we're very happy to have you on board leading the data practice. Tamer, we do a lot of work in the data space, and we talk to companies advising them on data and data strategy and data adoption, best practice, and so on. And there's this one conversation you often have, and it's about drawing an analogy between data and manufacturing. Do you want to talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, sure. So this is very important to realize the importance of the data as a critical asset in any organization. So just imagine like a factory production line, and I have like raw material, and I want to do some checks on this material, some refinement, some composition on this material. And also I have this quality control, like sensors seeing or checking the quality of this raw data or raw material, and then thinking about like the final product. I want to put it in marketplace, put it in a nice packaging. So if we make this analogy to the data, so now we'll check to see the importance of the data. So for example, if you don't have this quality controls, can you imagine the final product, how it will be? It will not be competitive. Second, if you don't have this machinery to make this automation for the manufacturing thing, so the same thing for the data. If you don't have this automation for the pipelines, so things will be slow. We cannot be competitive in terms of the insights we're providing. So this analogy is very important to realize how data is important and should be treated as critical enterprise asset.
Yeah. I think that asset point is very valid. Data is an asset. It's a first order asset. Data is the new oil, as people say. I know you say that a lot. Yeah. And so when we talk to clients about data, often there's a perception that it's a big thing that needs to be done. It requires a lot of investment. We're going to come a little bit later to how that's probably not the case. It's possible to make things smaller and more nimble and agile. But in the meantime, though, in order for organizations to understand their data, to make the investments, to really leverage and use their data, to build those assets and to use them productively, the question always comes to business value, right? And although many organizations probably have an intuitive idea of what the value of data might be, do you want to talk about that a little bit more? What is the value that organizations today can derive from their data?
Yeah, sure. So back to the data is the new oil. Yeah, so this is fact. It's known now for many years, but the key thing is how to extract value, high-level products out of this data. And this is where the adoption is all about. So for that, my recommendation or my usual advice to the customers on any level is to focus on two things: how to maximize the mindset of how to maximize the value out of this data, and most importantly, to link this to the business strategic objective, whether it's like increase revenue, reduce cost, so you name it. So to have this attention from the business, from the stakeholders, you need to link this to the strategic objective, and this is how you can measure the successfulness of this data strategy adoption. So adoption is a key thing here to make this happen.
Mm-hmm. And I think it goes beyond just the traditional use of data. It's also about innovation. It's about the art of the possible. I mean, there are so many things that can be done today if you have a good data strategy and a good understanding of the value that you're wanting to derive. But of course, one of the key things there is sponsorship and leadership. What is your view on the importance of sponsorship and leadership within organizations, specifically around data?
Yeah, so actually this is a critical dimension. So this need to be sponsored by someone. And this should be like on a C-level, like the CDOs, for example, the Chief Data Officer. So this is where they bridge the gap between like the current state and the objective, and how make this like the value out of the data to unlock the potential in the data. For example, the machine learning AI. So if your organization is heavily using Excel, don't think about machine learning AI now. So you need to make this foundation. So the first thing is, for example, if I have this Excel, I need to make the people focus more on the business outcome rather than in collecting data, make this formulas on Excel, make this cleansing with the manual cleansing and stuff. So if I automated this for them, they will have like more time to focus on the data itself as a business outcome. So this will test the maturity. So my recommendation always is avoid using the big words with the organization within the organization, and think about how to simplify and how to do the marketing, the branding for the data. So for example, that instead of telling that I have this data strategy that I want to implement, I have these capabilities. So for them, this will be like additional work on my shoulder. So I would rather ask them what are their current challenges. So maybe if somebody say I'm using too much Excel and this is wasting my time, so this is an entry point I can start with. So start with automating this data collection thing. Somebody else that saying that I don't trust the data. So this is immediately will trigger that I need to document the policies around the data quality and then automate the data quality assessment. Somebody else that I have a problem in finding the data. So a lot of use cases, a lot of entry points. So the point is that to figure out an entry point, so just have an interview, have questions, or have like some interview with the internal stakeholders, about their problems, and from there we can assess the maturity and can select the entry point, and then we can start change the culture of the organization.
Yeah, I think that's a good point actually, because data by its very nature it's a big topic, right? It's a big and complex topic, and I think very often the temptation or the risk is that while it's important to have strategy, it's also important to be pragmatic and deliver value quickly. That's a good point. Hey, so we've over the years we've evolved what we now call our data adoption framework, and what it is a pragmatic way to, in a strategic context, be pragmatic and deliver value. Tell us a little bit more about the data adoption framework.
Yeah. So the key thing about the adoption is is empowering people. So the key thing about data is to unlock the value, and the only entity or the only person who can unlock this value is the business user. They understand their business very well. They know what they want to achieve, but they don't know how. This is why, for example, they are using the Excel, think that they know. So imagine that if I empower them with what we call self-service platform. So when I say self-service platform, for example, I want to collect data from Salesforce or from any ERP solution. And if I give them this platform with drag and drop, and then they can reach the data easily. So for them, this is like accelerating time to value. They can get data from multiple places. They can combine this data and make like new products, better insights, and quickly they can address like maybe target customers better, and so on and so forth. So this is like one of the key things in the adoption is the self-service. So name it for the reaching the data, making their own reports. So by that you unlocking the data from the IT and then give it to the hands of the business. So for that we have what we call the vertical approach. So in that vertical approach we can select like a critical business objective. For example, that I want to reduce the churn. Okay, so this can be an objective, and we can work from this point as a high-low, and then we can figure out how to reach this objective while touching all the best practices in the data.
Yeah.
Things like catalog, lineage, integration, quality assessment, scorecards, quality enforcement, marketplace. So we can give them the flavor in short time with a business objective.
The picture I have in my head when you say all of that is it's the data adoption framework it's a strategic framework, but it's a pragmatic framework that allows us to have a vision of what the data landscape should look like.
Yeah.
And yes, of course, we include technology, but it's also people and process. So it's the holistic package around data.
Yeah.
But then in a very pragmatic way, take thin slices through that stack of things to deliver tangible, measurable business value early and continually.
Yeah, exactly. So with this vertical approach, once you finished like the first slice, so you're proving the approach. Now we have a champion. So this champion is very important to promote things that you done with them to the other departments, and then you can roll out. So when you are rolling out, for sure you are rolling out within a framework of technology with empowerment, and then you are rolling out the technology and the empowerment. And this is where the data strategy work and scaled and adopted. The beauty about that you don't tell the business user that you want or you need to use these tools. You tell them that you need to reach this objective. I will help you to reach this objective, and then without like making them feel that they are using new tools or whatever, because they have this objective, and now they have this enablement or enablers to reach this objective from technology perspective. So this is how we mix the people with the technology in processes or under the umbrella of processes to make this adoption happen.
Yep. No, very interesting. It certainly is a valuable framework, and it does make the boat go faster. When we catch up next time, which I hope is soon, I want to talk to you about a number of topics, but one of the most interesting ones for me is the idea of automation of governance and quality. I think that would be a really good topic, and I think it's a very topical discussion point, because every organization I know has both challenges and opportunities in that space.
Sure.
So it'd be very good to zoom into that next time.
Yeah, sure. Very interesting, very important topic. Yeah.
Yep. Tamer, thank you for joining us. Thanks for the discussion, and thank you for joining us, and we will talk to you again soon.